بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعماءه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتهدون. فطر الخلائق بقدرته ونشر الرياح برحمته فوتد بالصخور ميدان أرضه. ثم الصلاة والسلام على العبد المؤيد والرسول المسدد حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد صلى الله عليه وآله الطيبين الطاهرين وصحبه المنتجبين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
عباد الله، أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله. اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. أما بعد، ألم تر كيف ضرب الله مثلا كلمة طيبة كشجرة طيبة أصلها ثابت وفرعها في السماء تؤتي أكلها كل حين بإذن ربها ويضرب الله الأمثال للناس لعلهم يتذكرون. إن الإسلام يهدف إلى بناء عائلة قوية. العائلة القوية، ويؤكد على الزواج كضرورة شخصية وحاجة اجتماعية ومصلحة دينية. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء. فتشكيل العائلة هو حجر الأساس للمدينة الإنسانية والعمل السليم لبناء المجتمع الأمثل، وكذلك بقاء النوع وتكثير الأمة والوقاية والستر. فطلب الإسلام من كلا الزوجين أن يقيما علاقتهما على مبادئ الاحترام والمحبة، وأن يخلص لبعضهما بكل أمانة وصدق وإحسان وبر. إن الأنبياء عليهم السلام أنفسهم قد طلبوا من الله أن يمن عليهم بزوجات صالحات يكونن خير معينات لهم في حياتهم. وورد عن داود عليه السلام في دعائه: اللهم إني أسألك أربعا وأعوذ بك من أربع. أسألك لسانا صادقا وقلبا خاشعا وبدنا صابرا وزوجة تعينني على أمر دنياي وآخرتي، وأعوذ بك من ولد يكون علي سيدا، ومن زوجة تشيبني قبل وقت المشيب، ومن مال يكون مشبعة لغيري بعد موتي ويكون حسابه في قبري، ومن جار سوء إن رأى حسنة كتمها وإن رأى سيئة أذاعها وأفشاها. إن الإسلام لم يجعل المرأة متاعا تقصد لمجرد قضاء الغرائز أو بلذات عاجلة، وإنما جعلها سكنا مريحا يسكن إليها الرجل كما تسكن إليه المرأة، ويستانس بها ويجد منها عونا على عبادة الله عز وجل والامتثال لأوامره واجتناب نواهيه. لذلك أمر الرجل بإعطاء زوجته مهرها وآتوا النساء صدقاتهن نحلة، وكذلك إرشادها إلى طريق الحق وإبعادها عن مواطن الشر، وأخيرا حسن المعاشرة كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله: أكمل المؤمنين إيمانا أحسنهم خلقا وخياركم خياركم لنسائكم، وأنا خيركم لعائلتي أو نسائي. سأكمل هذا البحث إن شاء الله في الخطبة الإنجليزية. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله أكرمه بالنبوة وجعله رحمة للعالمين. اللهم صل وسلم على عبدك ورسولك وحافظ سرك ومبلغ رسالاتك، وصل على وصيه وأخيه أمير المؤمنين وعلى الصديقة الطاهرة فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين، وصل على سبتي الرحمة الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة، وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف القائم المهدي حججك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادك صلاة كثيرة دائمة. اللهم لا تدع لنا ذنبا إلا غفرته، ولا هما إلا فرجته، ولا سقما إلا شفيته، ولا عيبا إلا سترته، ولا سوءا إلا صرفته، ولا حاجة هي لك رضا ولي فيها صلاح إلا قضيتها يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Last Tuesday, Dr. Robert Redfield, the director of Center for DCP, Disease Control Prevention, told a congressional hearing, this is what he said. He said, one little virus has brought this nation to its knees. Also, CDC, which is Center for Disease Control, said yesterday that the number of cases of coronavirus is likely to be 10 times higher than reported figure. It's just amazing, because the official figure says 2.4 million people in America confirm infections. And so far, over 122,000 people died because of this virus. Some states' situation even worse, like in Phoenix yesterday, there was something in the news that over 1,000 cars were lined up for a test center to be tested. And these are not really perfectly healthy people. They already saw some signs of virus, and this is why they want to test themselves. You remember a month back when this crisis started, we were saying that this virus might be a call to wake up everyone and to bring a new message to the world that the solution for the world problems is the language and logic of love, not logic of power. We cannot solve the world problems with military, but with mercy. The solution for humanity is more compassion, solidarity, peace and reconciliation. That was our discussion like last February, January. And then emphasis on March and April, May. Well, unfortunately, this human being that being ظلوما جهولا منوعا جزوعا كفورا حريصا didn't try to learn a lesson, didn't try to listen to this call. Because as the Quran says, the majority of people don't live in Dar al-Hikmah. أكثرهم, the majority, they live in Dar al-Ghurur, Dar al-Ghafla, Dar al-Harb, Dar al-Asabiyya. And this is why in recent weeks and months we saw more hate crimes. We thought that now people are more united and more healing and humbleness, but then more racism and more brutality, followed with some protest, to the point that now some people are toppling the statues and anything that reminds them of injustice and oppression or racism. When the nation going through this crisis, the leaders, and especially the president's job, is to unite everyone and bring people together. But they even use this crisis of corona to bring more division and to use this strategy to advance their own agenda and to unite not the entire nation, but to unite just those people who support them against other people. So if there is any problem, it's somebody else's problem. You know, all the time blaming, this is like coronavirus, this is Obama's problem, or this is Democrats' problem, or this is media problem, or it's a China problem, or somebody else. And even Today, the issue of a strike, asking the Supreme Court to strike down the Obamacare, while people need at this time, in the middle of this crisis, the health care is the most important thing, and to cancel a health insurance and a health issue is a very negative thing at this time. But remember that Trump is not the only one who didn't learn a lesson from this coronavirus. There are so many other friends that he has, same problem. And look at the Netanyahu. He's talking about annexation of more territories from West Bank to Israel. What else are you looking? The entire West Bank is already under occupation for decades. They said, yeah, it's under occupation, but we want to say it officially. Just then everybody acknowledge it, this nervousness. I mean, something that the majority of people, even in Congress, against it. I mean, people who even worship Israel, the Zionists, there are so many Zionists, they are saying that annexation of more territories from West Bank to Israel is even against the interest and security of Israel itself. But this guy is so crazy, and especially when he feels that President Trump is giving him green light to go ahead, that he ignores everything. And out of arrogance, he said, no, we want to make sure that at least we get 30% now and another 30% later. And it's interesting that in the middle of this crisis, you see that he announced that now we have relationship with UAE, United Arab Emirates. They are flying to Israel and they have flights over there. And he announced that now we have better relationship with Arab world. While even Congress and Zionists are condemning Netanyahu, some of these Arab countries are competing to get closer and closer to him. Can you imagine? And when they were embarrassed, since Netanyahu showed more honesty than the leaders of United Arab Emirates, and at least he came and publicly said it, they said, well, this is not an official, this is just the cooperation between companies that we want to work with Israel against coronavirus. Oh, how nice you are. You care now about coronavirus? You don't care about coronavirus massacring people in Yemen? And now you want to cooperate with Israel regarding corona. Israel, they have more equipment and medicine and ventilators and anything that even United States. Now you care about curing people over there? This is what we can call it, the pandemic of hypocrisy. Today is also the International Day of supporting the victims of terrorism. Can you imagine this pandemic of nifaq? So, well, of course we support the victims of terrorism. But only if this happened in Syria. You know, this Qanun Qaisar. Qaisar is a Syrian guy, I think, that he had some photos, and he showed those photos to Congress in the US years back, that there were tortures in Syria. Of course, if there were tortures in Syria, we are not going to defend it. I'm not Syrian, I don't have information. And if there were something wrong in Syria or anywhere else, we don't defend it. Wrong is wrong, whether it happened in Syria, in Iran, in Lebanon, in Iraq, in Libya, in Algeria, in Europe, in America. Right is right, wrong is wrong. But the point is that at least the Syrians, they were fighting ISIS. Why you don't talk about those countries that support the terrorism and torture of ISIS? That they got the baby from his mom, a few-month-old baby, and they killed the baby, and they cooked the baby, and put the baby with rice and send it to his mom. What happened to those who support this ISIS? That open the chest of the soldier and get their livers and their heart, and they touch it and they taste it and they eat it, and they ask a young person, a teenager, that we want to kill you. Tell us that you want to be beheaded or you want us to shoot at you. So you have no Qanun Qaisar against these criminals. Al-Qaeda and those people in Afghanistan that still they are killing and torturing people, you are rewarding them and making agreement with them. The Saudis, that they are known for torture and supporting terrorism. You forgot Khashoggi and all. That was not the case of torture. So what is it that Qanun Qaisar is just for one country, that if anybody else support or have relationship with Syria is going to be under sanction? This is really the disease, the virus of hypocrisy. So how we can deal with this issue? How we can tell the world that the medicine is not this hypocrisy, the medicine is understanding, is love, it's compassion, is healing. We have to start that from the family. This is the family, the center of لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. مركز المودة، مركز السكينة، مركز الإيثار، مركز الإخلاص، مركز الصدق، مركز الأدب والاحترام، مركز الشكر والتعاون، مركز التفاهم. When we deal with all these viruses in society and the world, we go back home for healing, for honesty, for decency, for love. جاء شخص إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وآله: يا رسول الله، إن لي زوجة إذا دخلت الدار استقبلتني، وإذا خرجت من الدار شيعتني، وإذا رأتني مغموما قالت: إن كان غمك للرزق فلا تفكر به فقد تكفل الله به. فأجاب صلى الله عليه وآله: إن لله عمالا وزوجتك من عمال الله. This is really where the peace, calmness, unity, cooperation and empathy start from the family. The Prophet said, when you have a wife with all these loving qualities, she welcomes you when you get home. She escorts you when you leave the house. When you are suffering, she provides you healing and said, don't worry about dunya. God is going to support us, energize you, encourages you. She is an angel. She is one of the agents of Allah. That is the issue. So yes, brothers and sisters, peace and understanding, solidarity in the world start from the family. مركز المسؤولية. كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته. فالأمير راع وهو مسؤول عنهم، والرجل راع على أهل بيته وهو مسؤول عنهم، والمرأة راعية على بيت بعلها وهي مسؤولة عنهم. A responsible relationship between husband and wife, between children and their parents, between brothers and sisters. قال صلى الله عليه وآله: خيركم خيركم لأهلكم وأنا خيركم لأهلي. You want to know in the community who is the best? Anyone who is best to the family, who is best to his wife, who is best to her husband. They are the best. Then, peace be upon him, the Prophet said, جهاد المرأة حسن التبعل. Because the ladies were complaining that the Rijal, they are going to jihad and they receive the rewards. What about us? And Prophet said, your jihad is to be a good wife. Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. I mean, can you imagine 10 years in Medina? And during these 10 years, there were over 70 Ghazwa and Suriyah. And Imam Ali was almost in all of them, maybe one or two. Except one or two in every defense operation, every battle, he is there. And the family is suffering from poverty. But this lady is taking care of this house and managing it. Never complains and never makes her husband angry. Jihadul husna, jihadul mar'a, husnul taba'ul. This is why Imam Ali said, Ni'mal aounu ala ta'atillah. That Fatima Zahra was the best assistant in obedience of God. That she was the one who supported me to do my duty. Last week somebody came to me and he said that we have a good house, we are not poor, but my job is very stressful and I get tired and get very exhausted. When I come home, I want to see a sakina, but then I see turmoil and I see turbulences and I see like I cannot even breathe. He said, I can't breathe. He said, even in my house, if I breathe a little bit louder, my wife complains about even my breathing. She thinks that I mean something against her if I breathe a little bit louder, and I come home for peace, but I hear yelling and screaming and attacking and insulting and fire, and I losing my brain, losing my mind, I get mental disorder. Where is the smile? Where is love? Where is forgiveness? Because when Quran says لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا is as-sakina al-mutaqabila, that man provides peace and wife provides peace and they help one another. You remember a letter of Imam al-Rahil that almost 86 years ago, he had a trip to Lebanon by himself, and in Beirut he wrote a letter to his wife from Beirut to Qum. And this is what he wrote, subhanallah, the letter of Al-Imam, Ya Habibti, Ya Nur Aini, Ya Quwwata Qalbi, Adhukuruka, بالرغم من بعد المسافة أرى وجهك الجميل في مرآة قلبي أتمنى لك الصحة والسعادة الله يحفظك في حفظه الآن وصلت إلى بيروت هذه المدينة الجميلة يا ليت كانت حبيبتي معي حتى نتلذذ من هذه المناظر الجميلة أطال الله عمرك مع العز والكرامة مخلصك فداك روح الله. Can you imagine this love المودة المحبة بين الرجل والمرأة? How can we replace all this selfishness to selflessness and sacrifice? How can we replace jealousy with dignity? All this fighting with forgiveness? All this cursing and crashing with kindness and compassion? All this illusion and delusion with vision and wisdom? We have this in the Quran, brothers and sisters. We have this in the practice of the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt. Why is it that we look on the things that are happening in our society and this culture now? A while ago, the police report that the wife, she kept the dead body of her husband in the freezer of their house for 10 years. The guy died, and then she decided to get the veterans benefits of her husband, so she just kept the body in refrigerator so she can receive the money. For 10 years she received $177,000 from the government. And then she showed a letter, and the letter signed and, as a matter of fact, notarized by her husband, saying that if I died, my wife is not responsible for my death. If I died by myself. God, took me, not my wife. So nice. The guy was 58 years old, and the lady was 75 years old. So why you want, after 75 years, for how longer you want to keep the dead body of your husband in the refrigerator to get more money? You can get more money, you can get more bucks, but zero barakah. You can have millions of bucks, but zero blessing, zero benefit. You think that if you have more money, then the life is happier, the life is healthier? You might be absolutely poor, but your life full of barakah, full of success, and full of satisfaction, full of joy. You have heard about Mullah Muhammad Salih al-Mazandarani, one of the greatest ulama in history of Shi'ism. He was a very, very poor guy. His dad in Mazandaran, he told him that I cannot pay for you if you want to study here. He went to Qom. As a matter of fact, he went to Isfahan, because at that time Qom didn't have a seminary. Isfahan was the center of seminary. So he went to the madras of Allama Muhammad Taqi al-Maylasi, and he started studying there. Very, very poor. There was wuqufat, of course, in the Hawza in Isfahan, and after a while al-Maylasi started giving him like maybe $1 a month. Because at that time, I remember when we started in the Hawza, after 6 months, and for 6 months they said there is nothing for you. If you